Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well. This is Kenyan Revolutionary. This is Pontifex Maximus. I hope life is treating you well in this Friday late night in Kenya as we await what will be unfolding tomorrow in AU, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. For all of you who have joined, let me just go ahead and say, if this is your first time here, please take 1 minute or a second to hit that subscribe button. Like the video. My very good friends, like the video as you just come in, walk in. Like it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed again. And that notification bell, make sure it's on so that every time I come in, you can always find me here. Namna gani? All right. Now that we've got that one out of the way, let me just give you an itinerary of how we are going to do things today, okay? We are going to talk about some stuff. This is the first live that I'm going to have. I will have another live later, okay, or early in the morning as we await the results of the AU results, okay? My suspicion is we might go for a second round. We might not get a winner in the first round. If we do, then okay. Especially with the advent of the SADC, mentioning that they will back their own candidate, Mr. Richard Manda something. I don't know I can't say his last name, but you know who I'm talking about. The guy from Madagascar, okay? So if the 16 SADC guys decide to rally their support for their candidate, then that might complicate things for the Djibouti guy and also Raila Odinga, of course, okay? Because everybody else will be scrambling to get the vote of the Northern Africa and also the Francophone nations, all right? But we'll delve into that, all of that. We shall mention that. We shall talk about everything. We shall talk about everything. I'm again. I hope you guys are doing well. Yes, I'm sticking to my my theory that Baba is losing. He's losing. He's going to lose. Nice seeing you, Ayaga. Go ahead and like the chat. Like the video. Nice seeing you, Ayaga. If you want the link, I will give you the link. If you want to give me your 2 cents, I will gladly give you the link so you can tell me how you think Baba is going to win Raila Odinga. That is, I don't call him Baba. But thank you so much for joining everybody else. As I say, my name is Kenyan Revolutionary. The first order of business is to like the video. That's the first order of business. Like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, share, like, comment, and all the wonderful, beautiful stuff that you need to do to get involved in this conversation. All right, let's get started. I want to start with something. Before we even mention the Raila stuff and the AU stuff. I want to mention something different, okay? Something that will kind of give you an idea of how world politics happens. These so-called elites of this world, okay? Not just Kenya, Africa, and US and all these places. I want to give you just a kind of an idea of why this is also a spiritual battle. This is a spiritual angle to everything. Let me say that. Before we get to the new, I will talk about the Raila Odinga stuff. Just give me a second. We'll get to the AU stuff, okay? But I want to open your eye into something different. There was a gentleman called Tucker Carlson. He's a journalist out of the US, and he interviewed the president of El Salvador. Okay, now El Salvador a few years ago was rated as one of the most unsafe countries in the world due to the gang problems. Okay, there's so much. The gangs were basically ruling the country. It was a narco state. So Tucker Carlson sat down with the El Salvadorian president and asked him, how did you deal with this? Okay. And what he said was very, very eye-opening. I want you to take a listen to this. Then we shall get into it. And I will connect it with everything else we talk about here. I usually tell people, hey, most of these things, the struggle that we face is not just a matter of people not following the Constitution, failure to adhere to the rule of law, the principles of democracy, human rights. It's just more deeper than that. So let's get to it. Let me just play you the clip. Then we shall get to the nitty-gritty of the issue, where we shall mention the Raila stuff and the possible votes that Raila Odinga can actually garner tomorrow, when we'll find out if he's going to be the new AU chairperson or not. Here is the first video first. Then we shall get to the others. Okay, right? All right, so let's get to this. Let's get to the first one. Here is the video that I really actually want you to pay close attention to. Listen to the interview very carefully as we go on. Okay, here it is.
And they are satanic also.
That was my question. So very
I'm
little.
sorry.
No. But I hope you will explain it, because very little has been written in the West about this.
They're satanic, yes.
But actually, literally, can you explain?
Well, they didn't start as a satanic organization. They MS-13 started in Los
Sorry,
Angeles.
guys, let me
in the
expand
US,
this.
because Salvadorans weren't allowed to sell drugs by the Mexican gangs. So they created a gang that was called the 18th Street Gang, because they basically wanted to sell drugs in a street that was 18th Street over there. But then division started to they started dividing themselves and started infighting. So they created the MS-13. And then MS-13 started outgrowing the other gangs, and they started exporting the organization to other parts of the U.S. And when Bill Clinton decided to deport those guys, he didn't tell our government at the time, "I'm deporting this criminal." They just send them here, and they came. There were few, but unchecked. At the same time, some laws were passed to protect minors from imprisonment. And of course, the gangs use that to recruit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. So at the beginning, it was some youth causing harm, assaulting, trying to control their territory, selling drugs, things that are bad, but probably not critical. But they grew, and they started controlling territories. A few years later, they were actually a huge international criminal organization that they had bases in Italy, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the U.S. Basically, a lot of major cities in the U.S. will have strongholds of.
Right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, of course. And you have in Long Island and
yes.
In L.A. It's a huge criminal international organization. So they grew, and they started, killing more people just to get territory, or to fight against rival gangs, or to collect debts or money or whatever. But as the organization grew, they became satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it was well documented.
Yes.
And in our arrest, we've even found altars and things like that.
Yes, I've seen them.
And so they became a satanic organization. And even when you sometimes when you interview gang members that are in prison, they would say, "I'm out of the gang." Of course, they're in prison, but they would say, "I'm not a member of the gang anymore." And when they asked them why, I remember I remember the news outlet that made it this, but it's a very well-known news outlet that made this interview with a gang member in person. We allowed them to go into prisons and do the interviews. And the guy that they asked him, "How many people have you killed?" And he said, "I don't remember." He didn't remember how many, probably 10, 20. He didn't remember. And then they asked him, "And what is your position in the gang?" He explained how he went up in positions, but I left the gang. I said, "Why did you left the gang?" And he said, "Well, because I was used to kill people, but I killed for territory. I killed to collect money. I killed for extortion. But I came to to this house, and they were about to kill a baby, And he, the killer that had killed tens of people, said, "Oh, wait, what are we doing? Why are we going to kill that baby?" And they told him, because the beast asked for a baby, so we have to give him a baby. So he said that he couldn't resist that, so he left the gang. He's in prison because he's a killer, but he left the gang because he couldn't tolerate what he was seeing.
So human sacrifice was
Yes.
a part.
Well, in the United States a couple of weeks ago, or a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly, I saw the news that they were going to kill a young girl, or they killed a young girl. I don't exactly remember, because it was a satanic ritual. It happened in the U.S. a couple of weeks ago.
So that's almost never described
No.
in English language press as clearly as you just described it.
No, which is weird, right?
Well, you sort of wonder why.
Yeah.
If there's a spiritual component that's driving it, why not just say so?
Yes.
But I guess my point is, you saw it as that.
Yes, of course. There's a spiritual war, and there's a physical war, and the physical war could be that's the unofficial.
Yes.
That's the unofficial version. The spiritual, if you win the spiritual war, it will reflect into the physical war. So I don't know how to call it, our impressive victory was because we won the spiritual war very, very fast.
Well, that leads me,
Listen to what this guy says. This is a very profound statement coming from the head of a state, El Salvador, the most unsafe country, which he totally revolutionized and turned it to one of the third safest place in the on planet Earth. And did you hear what he said? He basically said, this is a spiritual war. If you win the spiritual war, then the physical war is it's just nothing. It's not a competition anymore. So haya, Ani ananiambia syllabus inaendelea ya Francis Gaito. Wacha tuangalie Francis Gaito anasema nini, kwa sababu mambo in crap. Are you kidding me? Shoot. Did they just... All right, guys. Sorry about that. Stream suspended for policy. Dang. All right. Can you guys hear me? Dang it.